Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope that you are doing so very well. I've kind of changed the angle of my camera because of the lighting of my window right here. You get to see part of my bed here. My cool pink sheets right there. I'm here today with a review. I'm going to be reviewing The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I don't have any notes for this book. I just read the recap about it and I just finished reading it a couple days ago. So we're just gonna hope for the best. Probably should have planned this out better. Who needs to plan things out when you can ramble to the camera? The first part of this review will be spoiler free and then I'll go into spoilers at the end. So if you want to stick around and you haven't read this book, you totally can. I'll let you know when we're gonna move on. This book is about 4 boys named Gainsey, Ronan, Adam, and Noah, and one girl named Blue, and their quest to wake up this old Welsh king named Glendower. The 4 boys go to the school named Aglenby, and their symbol for the school is the raven, hence the Raven Boys. Basically all of the boys that go to the school are from really well-to-do families, really wealthy families, except in rare cases where someone has a scholarship, as Adam does. Blue lives at 300 Foxway with a bunch of psychics. Her mom's a psychic, her aunts are psychics, her mom's best friends are psychics, everybody's a psychic except for Blue. She's not a psychic, but she helps the energy level go up. She kind of amplifies things for all of the psychics when they do readings and stuff like that. So that's what takes her to Corpse Road on Newbark's Eve with her Aunt Neve, and then she sees a spirit. She's never seen a spirit before. The reason she's seeing a spirit is that she'll either fall in love with him or she'll kill him in the next year. Blue realizes that this spirit is a Raven Boy. She doesn't normally associate with Raven Boys, but you know, fates align and things happen. First of all, I absolutely adored this book. It was super duper duper hyped up for me by a lot of my friends who love this book, but I understand the hype now, I really do. It's phenomenal in every area. The characters are great, the writing is beautiful, the plot and the story is really engrossing and engaging, and all of those things combined just make a great story. I know people who prefer adult fiction that love this book. I know people who love YA that love this book. It's just really for everybody, even though it is a YA paranormal novel. The characters, my gosh, the characters. Let's just start with them, shall we? Blue is super spunky and super great, and she's just written really well, and I love her as a character. I really love Adam. He's really sweet, but he's also like a tortured soul. Ronan is like evil, but also a tortured soul. And Gainsey is kind of like a multi-faced politician. Blue, when she first sees Gainsey, calls him President Cell Phone, and I feel like that's a pretty accurate description of who he is. He was on the phone looking like a president. Noah is just super sweet and really mysterious kind of, because he's not really around a lot. Most of the novel, you're like, where's Noah? And then he shows up and you're like, there's Noah, cool. Even the secondary characters are really great. Blue's mom, Mara, is really cool. Persephone is also great, and Neve is a really interesting character as well. Like I said, the story is phenomenal. Basically, the boys in Blue are trying to wake this ley line, which is a spiritual energy line. They're trying to wake this Welsh king named Glendower that Gainsey has on good authority has been buried in the US. If you wake him, you get a favor, so that's kind of what they're after, but also Gainsey just wants to find Glendower because he's his hero. It's really mysterious and there's a lot of crazy twists and turns that you don't expect or see coming. Maggie Stiefvater is really great at writing twists. I really feel like her twists are top-notch, phenomenal. I didn't see a lot of things coming, and I normally do, so that was so good. And the writing was beautiful. She made connections and made analogies that you wouldn't normally think of, and you were like, oh, I would have never thought of that metaphor, but that totally makes sense in this context. It was just so whimsical and ethereal and beautiful, and it's just a really beautifully written book. I think that's all I can really say on non-spoilery stuff that I liked about it. It was really great. It was a 5 of 5 stars for me. I really think that you should at least give this book a try. Even if you're skeptical, appreciate the writing, even if you don't like the story. Now we're gonna jump into spoilers, so if you haven't read this book, bye-bye, peace out, you don't want to hear the spoilers. And we're back. Time for spoilers. Let's talk about the big one first, shall we? Freaking Noah. My mind was blown when we found out that he was a ghost. Maggie Stiefvater's foreshadowing on that was phenomenal. It's very light except for the joke at the beginning that's completely hugely a spoiler, but the rest of the foreshadowing was just like so subtle and so like barely hinted at, but when you look back it makes a lot of sense, and that's the kind of foreshadowing that I love. I find that a lot of foreshadowing in books for me is very heavy-handed and very like, this is gonna happen. So a lot of twists that happen in books I've already called, I've already seen it coming because the foreshadowing is so obvious. But her foreshadowing was so good. The beginning, Noah saying straight up that he's been dead for 7 years, but you just think it's a joke because it looks like a joke and it feels like a joke, and you don't really know Noah and you don't really know the boys at all. You've only just met them a couple chapters ago, so you don't really know their personalities or know their patterns. You don't really know that Noah is barely ever there, or else that joke would totally give everything away. But to put it at the beginning and then kind of explain his character after that, it just is so great. Oh my gosh, my mind is still reeling and I read it days ago. I love that Blue like stuck to her guns when she saw Gainsey and was like, you're not the one that I like Adam because I met him before and I'm gonna stick with Adam and Adam's gonna be my true love, and she's just like sticking to it like, I'm gonna love Adam, I'm not gonna love Gainsey, and she's so like adamant about not loving him. And just her like snarkiness and her sarcasm is so great. I love Blue as a character. She's really quirky, really like different, but that's what makes her amazing and really cool. Poor little Adam and his dad like beating him. I was like, bless little Adam, please leave your home. And I know you don't want to leave because you want to make your own way, but you really need to leave your house. Dude, please stop. And Ronan's whole like story, when you hear a little bit more about it, is so sad. Noah's story is awful. He's dead, he's a ghost. And Gainsey is just such an awesome and like takes up the room kind of character. He has such a big personality and so many different sides and facets that you feel like you haven't even really scratched the surface of who Gainsey is because you have only seen these few sides of him in this book, and then more things come out and you're like, oh, Gainsey, there you are, like you're even more different in this context, in this world, in this situation. I loved the whole situation with Gainsey basically insinuating that Blue was a prostitute accidentally when he was trying to get her number for Adam. That was hilarious, and that like set the tone for their relationships. Blue kind of had to work to get over that, to be friends with them, but it was so wonderful and so great. Cave's Water, man. Cave's Water was so just magical and like crazy. The whole seasons thing and Ronan seeing his joke in Latin. I don't even know how to describe Cave's Water, but it's just a really magical place to read about and a really cool place to read about. Oh man, I don't even know how else to describe it. It's just really magical and a really interesting world that I've never read anything like. I'm interested to see where Glendower ends up because I'm sure at some point they're gonna find him. There's gonna be more Cave's Water and more talking trees and more issues and stuff with the boys and Blue. Blue is eventually gonna fall in love with Gainsey because, I mean, she saw his spirit and she saw a vision of her kissing him. They're gonna fall in love eventually, but it's just gonna be interesting to see how that happens because it's very much gonna be a slow burn. I just loved everything about this book. I don't even know what else to say. I'm almost finished reading Dream Face right now. Blue Lily Lily Blue is next, and then I have to wait for the 4th book, which kind of sucks, but you know, it's whatever. I hope that review wasn't too scattered since I didn't plan it at all. Let me know down below what you thought of the Raven Boys, if you liked it, if you disliked it, what parts of it you liked or didn't like. Keep it spoiler free so people don't get spoiled in the comments, but I want to talk about this book with you guys because I loved it so much. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.